Hi everyone, thank you for coming down to the Hangout today for our World Menopause Day chat with none other than Gaby Roslin. So Gaby is a TV and radio presenter. She's also an actress and was in Chicago. She was just telling me, I remember her in Chicago actually. And an author, and she's recently released her first book called Spread the Joy. So you were a joy advocate as well.
Completely. Absolutely. I really am.
So thank you for joining us today, Gaby. If I can start off by asking you, why do you think it's important we have a World Menopause Day?
Do you know what? Because everybody's now talking about it. And it's only a few years ago that people didn't mention it. I love that there are men here as well. I think that's really important, that everybody talks about it and it's not taboo. I mean, it's only a few years ago that people wouldn't even talk about periods.
Yeah.
So when I was at school, there was no way you wanted your male teacher or anything to know that you had period.
Yeah.
My girls are 16 and 22. They think it's complete in the house, you know, with dad. It's I've got my period, can I have a hot water bottle? He doesn't flinch, there's nothing. Now everybody's talking about menopause at last, but I think there are so many offshoots of that that people just say, I think a few years ago people said, oh, we can use the word menopause and that means that time of life. Now we realise that there's so much more to it. There's the anxiety, there's the hot sweats, there's the aching limbs. There's so much around it. It's not just one word, but that one word now, the fact that everyone's now talking about it. Hallelujah.
And also the perimenopause, because that
Yes.
was a phrase that I had never even heard of when I took over Women's Health. And that
Really?
was almost 7 years ago. I
That's
only heard it for
interesting.
the first time when I started having symptoms myself. And a doctor friend said to me, you are going through the perimenopause. But even now, that phrase is now very common in our vernacular when
Yes.
many people hadn't heard of it as recently as 5-6 years ago.
That's so, but isn't it funny how we learn to live as we are now in the moment? And we think, oh, yeah, no, people have been talking about it for a while. But when you think about it, that people weren't talking about it, it's something that I knew about. I remember I started to get, my moods didn't seem to be related to my period anymore. It was like, oh, I'm really. It suddenly, well, it's not my period. Okay, my feet were sort of hurting. I remember having hurting feet and getting some hot flushes later on. But in the beginning, people were talking about it, but not as much as they do now. Maybe because my girlfriends all did, that we were aware of it. But you're right, it was only quite recently.
And what do you think is behind the gear change that it has become such commonly discussed?
Because women are standing up and talking about it at last. I mean, I think the most important thing is that as women, we talk, and as women, we listen. And I think a lot of people are scared to talk, especially if they have male bosses. They're worried that they're going to be judged, and they're going to be worried by female bosses as well, you know, that without a doubt. But I think it's also for people to listen. So and I go on and on about it in my book as well, about talking, and talking is so important. We have a list of charities at the back because I'm always worried that people haven't got people to talk to. But listening is vitally important. If you're sitting next to somebody, whether you're a man or a woman, if you're sitting next to somebody, a woman, who says, you know, I feel really awful, oh, I'm so sorry, and then walk away, don't do that. Ask exactly how they're feeling, why they're feeling awful, how they're feeling awful, and sharing symptoms, sharing conversation. Having a conversation is vital, so important.
And is that the type of support you experienced when you were having your symptoms?
I did, because I've got the most amazing girlfriends. I really have. And my husband didn't think it was, he didn't think it was odd. You know, I talked to him about it. I moaned about it when I started feeling all those things. And I made the girls laugh with me when I was having a hot flush. I'd suddenly be like, oh, and they go, oh, she's having one of them. I go, okay, come on, take your clothes. But they were great. And obviously they were younger than they are now. But again, it's about talking and communicating. And I believe in that so strongly.
So you had the emotional support. Did you get any treatment for the physical symptoms?
Well, and this is not just because I'm here. I promise this is 100% true. So I tried all sorts of things. I wanted to do everything holistically. I didn't want to go on HRT. I wanted to try every complementary and alternative thing I could because I believe very strongly in that. So I do. I don't take any. I don't drink alcohol. I gave up alcohol as well because hangovers got worse as you get older, and I didn't want that in my life because I walk everywhere. No, I don't want anything to stop that. I wish I'd known earlier about giving up alcohol, how much better I was going to feel. Oh my goodness me. But so I remember I was searching, and I went to my gynecologist and I said, okay, so I've tried this, and I've tried this. And he said, please try HRT. And I said, yes, but he went, I've written papers on it. It's a woman's right to have strong bone health. Because I do my exercise, I do my weight bearing, I eat the right things, I take the right supplements. And this is honestly true. The gynecologist said to me, and there's something else that I give to all of my women with perimenopause and menopause. Have you ever heard of something called Symprove? And honestly, if he was here now, he would tell you. And I said, well, funnily enough, my husband and I take it, not for his menopause. He has ulcerative colitis, so he takes it, and I've been taking it for 5 years.
So your relationship with Symprove is very authentic then?
Oh my God. I was taking Symprove because, as I said, my husband's got ulcerative colitis. He was taking it. I have a real gluten allergy, not just a trendy one that when I go to a restaurant, I don't want gluten. I really am allergic. Yeah. So allergic that accidentally there was some in a meal the other day in a restaurant and I blew up. I turned into, you know, in James the Giant Peach and she's purple, I was pink and I couldn't breathe and my heart was, it was horrible. But so my husband was on Symprove and I thought, oh, I wonder if that would be good for me. And then we went on it and then we went to the farm to see how it was all made and we completely converted and it's life-changing. It has actually changed our lives. It really has. My 22-year-old daughter is now on it as well. Not because we've persuaded her. She suddenly said, I want to. And she says how much better she feels. She says she feels lighter mentally and physically. So that's completely true. But all of my girlfriends who weren't sure about it have all now taking it with perimenopause and menopause. And they're all saying it's helping. So I'm not, that is absolutely true. That's not just, I know that I'm here as Symprove ambassador, but so just so you know, I was buying the stuff. We still buy the stuff, okay? We still pay for it. I'm adamant, otherwise I can't look at somebody in the eye and say, take it. If we get it free, we don't. I pay for it every month. But that I was taking it before that.
So I too take Symprove every morning, and because gut health is so important, isn't it?
Oh my word!
For all aspects of health, but especially when you're going through the menopause.
I've been studying health and nutrition. My parents, 27 years ago, my mum was diagnosed with smoking-related lung cancer. My dad had bowel cancer. The day my dad got the all clear, my mum sadly died. And so I have spent 27 years studying health and nutrition, and I was learning about gut health years ago. I wish I'd talked about it sooner, but people were just sort of, oh, what's that? Oh no! I was talking about sugar, too much sugar intake. I was talking about not enough exercise. All the things that people were all sort of, people were mumbling about. And please, if you can look after yourselves, you know, you work in this building with fantastic magazines, and if you can look after yourselves, please do.
Alongside Symprove, is there anything else you do to look after your gut health and feed your microbiome?
My gut health?
Yeah.
Yes. So I eat very carefully. I try to not have processed foods. I do like ice cream. It's in my book, in Spread the Joy. This says you've got to let yourself have some treats, and they're called treats because they're treats. Don't have it all the time. So you've got to do all that. But I have, heavily plant-based and beans and lentils, and we eat fish, salmon once a week. So, and I do take supplements as well. But it's all of it together, plus walking. Walking has changed my life as well. So I walk between 6 and 10 miles a day, not in these hills, but I'm going somewhere. I was somewhere first and I'm going somewhere afterwards. But I do walk a lot and look for the simple things. And actually, all of those things together make you stronger physically, mentally and inside. Your gut health is so important.
And that must help enormously with your menopause symptoms as well. Because
oh my goodness me,
HRT
yes.
is not, I take HRT as well, but I still get some symptoms. It doesn't overcome everything, does it? So you have to live a healthy lifestyle alongside it.
You have to. But what you don't want is to feel pressured into doing it. And I think that a lot of people, you know, I read health and nutrition medical papers and things at night because that's my reading matter of choice because I'm absolutely passionate about it. And I think sometimes you can feel that you're forced, that people are forcing you to do all of those things. Don't feel forced. Find what's right for you as well. And don't say I haven't got time because we're now learning. There are so many recipe books out there. Some great nutritionists who are doing good books. Lots of them, you know, Dale Pinnock and Melissa Hemsley, all these people. Melissa is wonderful, goddess. But if you could eat carefully, cook from scratch if you can, if you think you haven't got time, just give yourself another 3 minutes. I know that sounds silly, but all of those things, give yourself a bit more time. Batch cook, but you hear that from everybody. You don't want to hear it from me, but it really, really does make sense.
It's the incremental changes that you can make.
Yeah.
But
you don't have to do a big thing. It's like we need to all passionately care about our planet. We really, really do. And somebody said the other day, oh, I only recycle. That's not much. Oh, well. I went, yeah, but if you do that, and if everybody, you know, it's all these little bits. And if you look after your gut health, that's the best place to start. It really is.
And the way to do that is to eat a variety of plant-based
variety,
foods.
yeah, and colour, like everybody says, lots of colourful foods. You know, everybody always asks what I have for breakfast, so you haven't, but I'll tell you. But I don't have eggs every day, but I have eggs. I have spinach, I have beetroot, I have kimchi. That's after I have my Symprove, which I take first thing in the morning, and then you have to wait 10 minutes. So you don't have anything else before or for 10 minutes afterwards. And you said you don't know. Can I give away your secret?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to do with my 10 minutes. So I did tell you what I do, and it's in my book as well. But I do squats straight away. I take my shot and then do in the kitchen while no one's around. I do squats. I do wall press ups. I then do some ab work, and the 10 minutes, and then I get my daughter. It makes me sound like a superhero. I'm not. I'm just like listening to the radio, just going, oh, what do you want for lunch today? Yeah, I'm like that, you know, as a mum. And then I make my daughter's lunch for school, even though she's 16 and she says, Mum, I can do it. I go, no, I quite like to. I do. And so you just do stuff around, you know, fill those 10 minutes. And then I then have a glass of water because I want to rehydrate myself. And then I have my breakfast.
So I was saying that I struggle to fill the 10 minutes when I have Symprove. First thing, I need a coffee.
That's the other thing. I haven't had caffeine for 26 years.
Yeah, I can't relate to that.
No, I'm not. And my husband says he's very pleased I don't have caffeine because I'm like this first thing in the morning. I sit on my children and sing musical theatre songs first thing in the morning.
Well, you are.
I'm a nightmare.
You're known as the perennially happy person, aren't you? And your book is called Spread the Joy. And you said there was a funny story when you went to your publishers to pitch the idea.
Yes. Well, the interesting thing is that for years, journalists would say to me, oh, you're always so happy. And I used to say, oh, I'm sorry. And then when Mum died, I got a big show and I was on This Morning with Richard and Judy. And they said to me, live on air, congratulations on the new show. I'm so sorry about your mother. You seem so happy though. And I said, yeah, I am. And I'm never apologising again because I'm alive and I love life. So I'm never apologising again about that. So I went into the publishers and I said, I've got this idea for a book. It's called Spread the Joy. And it's about really appreciating the small things. And the boss there, he said, that's great, yes. So I went, okay, so what you need to do is then, and it's this and this and this. And he went, yes. And I went, why do you keep saying yes? He said, I've said yes to the book. I went, what? He said, yes, now you have to go and see Lisa Milton, head of HQ. So I went, Oh, okay. Oh, he was saying yes to that bit. So I went to see Lisa, who's the most amazing woman. And I went in there and went, I've got this idea for a book. It's called Spread the Joy. You look at all the little things in life, and it's everything and how to feel joy, because once you feel joy, just little things, incremental things, once you feel joy, then you can spread the joy. And she said, yes. And I went, okay. And I started pitching it again. She went, no, it's yes. And that's suddenly how I'm now an author. When you call me an author, it's like, I've only been an author for, it's only been out for 6 days. I'm an author, that's so bizarre.
So what are there must be days where you don't feel your normal jolly self. So do you have any go-to tactics to give yourself a bit of a zhuzh?
So, well, first thing in the morning, and it is in the book, that before your Symprove, when the minute you wake up in the morning, please try this tomorrow, because I absolutely promise you it does work. The very minute, you know that moment where you've just coming out of sleep, just before you reach for your phone or your alarm or whatever it is, you do that, and if you put a smile on your face, your brain suddenly goes, oh, I feel good. The other thing is then the next thing you do, you probably look in the mirror when you go into the bathroom, and everybody goes, oh, my roots, oh, the spot, oh, my wrinkle, oh, if I did that. Don't smile at yourself in the mirror, because it just makes you feel better. Somebody smiling back at you, it's just great. And then I've got little tips and tricks for in the day. Sometimes if I'm walking and I'm going off to a meeting and I'm doing a pitch for a TV show or radio show, or we're talking, or I'm going off to interview for my podcast, Reasons to be Joyful, I interview some of the most extraordinary people. And I do get nervous and excited, nurse-sighted. And I suddenly go, oh, and then I'll have a quick jump. And I do it. And people often say to me in the park, oh, Gaby Roslin, what are you doing? So I'm jumping. Do you want to jump with me? And it happens. And they do. And in my book, I tell a story about a couple who were very sad on a bench, and they were crying, an elderly couple. So I stopped to see if they were okay, and we talked for about 10 minutes, and something really awful had happened in their life, which is their story, so I'm not going to share that. But, and they were crying, and I was listening to their story. And then one of the things they said was, we don't know if we're ever going to be able to smile or feel happy again. So just before I left, I said to them, come on, will you do something with me? And so I said, we're just going to jump. And the man got up, and I think that I probably would say they were mid to late 70s. And he started jumping, and his wife got very annoyed and said, don't be ridiculous. So I said, please do it. And I took her hands and together, and we were jumping. And at the end of it makes me quite emotional to tell the story, but at the end of it, she said, I didn't think I was ever going to smile again. Oh. And she did. And afterwards, she was very tearful, but it's just those little simple things you can do to make your day a bit better. And somebody else's. That's about spreading joy.
And did you just one day jump and think, oh, I feel amazing?
No, I've always done it. I've always done it. So since I was a child, people used to call me Pollyanna, because I just always looked at the good side of everything. I did. Yeah. And I used to get dressed the night before, because I couldn't wait to go to school, couldn't wait for the next day. Yeah. And my mum used to come and go, Gabby, can you put your pajamas on? Oh, no, I want to get up. Because you never know what tomorrow might hold. Because I always wanted to be a presenter from the age of 3. Yeah. And so I just thought the next day I could be a presenter. It might happen.
So we were talking before we started about how incredibly lucky both of us are that we get to do jobs that we genuinely love and bring us joy every day. And if you say you want to be a presenter from the age of 3. I did. Then I did. I knew there was a show. It's still there. It's hidden away now, but a show called Blue Peter. And I wanted to do Blue Peter, so the TV screen was there. No, TV screen's that size. TV screen was there, and I'd sit next to it. So when the presenters all said hello, I'd say hello. And my dad would put a cardboard box on his head, and he was the cameraman. And that's all I ever wanted to do. And then Saturday morning telly, I thought, that's what I want to do. But I was incredibly shy, and I still have excruciating moments of shyness. So when anybody used to say, but you're so shy, I go, yeah, but I want to be a TV presenter. And they'd say, do you want to be famous? Television makes me happy, and I want people to be happy, so I want to do something. That's how I saw it. And what's been your career highlight? You've been on so many iconic shows.
It's very hard to choose. Obviously, The Big Breakfast was incredible.
Yeah.
Many of you are far too young to remember that. But the show I did with Chris Evans. The first Saturday, I did Saturday morning telly for 3 years, a show called Motormouth at ITV. And because I wanted to do that Saturday morning telly, doing that, very first show, and we have earpieces, and I have it open so I can hear everything going on in the gallery. So you hear the countdown and the director saying, go to camera 2, camera 3, whatever. And they go, and we're live in 10, 9. And in my head, I just thought, I'm doing my dream. It was extraordinary for me. So that, doing the 28.5-hour broadcast for the Millennium and doing the whole thing, that was quite something. When you love live television, somebody says, here's 28.5 hours. You go, oh, yes, please. So, yeah.
So one of the common symptoms of the menopause is that you start to struggle with your confidence and question yourself. Is that something that you've ever experienced? Because
I
your
did
job...
when I was younger.
Right, yeah.
So being unbelievably shy and self-conscious. But I think because I knew what I wanted to do. Unfortunately, the press in this country can be not very nice to women in some areas of the press. Not yours. Not yours. You celebrate women, as does Prima magazine. Celebrate women. I love it as well.
Current Prima cover star, by the way. Yes.
And you celebrate women, and that's how it should be. We should celebrate everybody, but it's wonderful when magazines do that. And it has shifted since I started in the industry. But of course I do. And people are very judgmental. And I think more so now with social media. It used to be just through pictures in a magazine or in a newspaper. Now everybody has a judgment on somebody. They're too thin, they're too fat, they're too grey, they're not grey, they're too tall, they're too curly haired, they're whatever it is. They put too much stuff in, they don't put much stuff in. You know, I think all of that, we need to all try and temper that and pull back on being judgmental. Because if somebody wants to go grey, celebrate them. If somebody wants to wear clashing colours, let them. If somebody wants to not go to the gym and just work out at home, do it. Whatever, you know, the little things, the big things. And I think hopefully with the support that women have for women, and I think it's vital, and men have for women, but I just think we need to support each other because it's not easy. It's not easy. The more support we get, and if you, I mean, the thing that every journalist always said is, what would you know, if you were self-conscious then, what would you tell yourself now? I would say, stop worrying about your upper arms being slightly large, because the person who's thinking that is probably thinking the same about themselves and isn't interested in you at all.
Yeah.
So stop worrying about what somebody else thinks, because they're more concerned with themselves.
So we're here on World Menopause Day. What do you hope for the menopause movement and the conversation going forward? That we talk to, my mum died when she was very young. She had gone through the menopause. I vaguely remember her talking about it, but I wish I'd asked more. So it's about talking, it's about listening, it's about acceptance. And with that, being all together and talking to men about it. It shouldn't just be women talking to women. It's women talking to men, men talking to men about it, because they are affected. Of course they're affected by their mother, by their sister, by their partner, by their friend, whatever it is. So it's everybody having this conversation. And also nobody feeling that they're not doing the right thing. Again, going back to feeling judged. Please, you know, if you aren't doing what one book tells you, don't worry, you'll find the thing that's right for you. But it's about talking and it's about listening. And being visible, as you say, visibility. Yeah, so talking. If we can, talk loud to our and proud, friends, and jumping. And if you jump tonight somewhere, could you jump somewhere that's going to really surprise someone? It happened the other day because I was doing another talk about the book, and I said that, and I got on Instagram, somebody DM'd me and said in the middle of the restaurant that she went to, she just jumped, and everybody started laughing and clapping, and I was like, yes! Right, on that note, Gaby, thank you so much for coming into Hearst today and joining us for this chat. Thoroughly enjoyed speaking with you. So everyone, just give Gaby a round of applause. Thank you very much.